Okay, and yeah, start this video, but not the audio. Okay, we start audios in 3, 2, 1. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Brew Podcast. This is Brew Podcast number 3. It's our second special guest. Special guest, Nick Delahoussaye. Let's give him a round of applause. He loves it. Let's give him a round of applause. So, yeah, there's a lot of things we want to talk about with Nick Delahoussaye. Obviously, we talked about him on the first Brew Podcast. Him and Finn, They trained at the same gym. So, I want to start with your early life. Tell us about your childhood. You don't have to get in it like too detailed if it's a personal thing, but just childhood, what school did you go to, stuff like that.
I grew up here in Cleveland. Went to Hayes Cooper from elementary school. Didn't really start playing any sports or anything until I got to middle school. I went to Margaret Green. I played baseball like my whole life. And that was just like the main sport I played. Travel league. It was like every weekend we were always doing something. Traveling out of town. Like that was like the only thing I was really doing. Like ever was just playing baseball. Went to Cleveland High. I played 2 years of baseball there. Just didn't really want to do it anymore. When I got to 10th grade, I told, I didn't realize I didn't want to play it until like tryouts rolled around. And so instead of like telling people I didn't want to play anymore, I just skipped tryouts like completely. So yeah, I got in a lot of trouble for that. And that was kind of when I got like, I guess like really athletic. Cause I was always like a short little fat kid whenever I played baseball. Like I was athletic, but I was short and like chubby. So it worked out, I guess. But like when high school came around, I like shot up a foot and I got like super skinny. I didn't really have any muscle or anything. And that was about like when I stopped playing baseball. And, like I knew that I was athletic. My dad didn't want to like waste like my like athletic abilities or whatever. And so I kind of started like bodybuilding, but I guess like I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just kind of lifting weights and eating a bunch of protein. I think I put on like 20 pounds in like a month. Oh my God. Just because I had like the frame for it. Yeah. But like I never was doing anything about it. And so like when I started lifting and eating right, I just like gained a bunch of muscle.
Yeah, your dad was like did bodybuilding.
Yeah, he's always lifted weights and he gone to the gym every day for as long as I can remember. Like my brother, he lifts with us, me, him. My sister, she used to a little bit, but she's kind of like me. We kind of have just like good genetics where we don't really got to work out and we just look good. But working out always does us good whenever we do it. But let's see, I bodybuilded. Like I say it with air quotes because I wasn't really doing anything like to compete. I was just trying to put on muscle and look good, I guess, like for aesthetics. I did that for like 2-3 years, and my dad, he's always trained fighters, MMA fighters since I was a little kid, since I was a baby. And he's always like done it on the side. And so he was training a couple fighters like at the time, and I kind of like picked it back up. I would hit mitts with him. He'd show me some technique. And let's see, my cousin at the time was fighting, Johnny Hudson. And it was after his first fight I kind of decided I didn't want to train like just to train anymore. I was training like to like actually take a fight.
To fight, yeah.
And at first, like I was 17 years old when I took my first fight, and it was fun, and it was like an adrenaline rush. But I didn't realize like now I'm 11 fights deep, and striving to be like in the biggest fighting organization in the world. But like that's just not where the aspirations were when I first started.
Yeah, so you're just like a couple steps from being in the UFC, right?
Yeah, so I've got a couple more fights to close this year out. I'm fighting the 19th, which is next Saturday. It's the 6th today. So I've got a couple more weeks of this fight camp. And then I'm going to Mandeville, Louisiana, fighting for all-in combat over there. And then I'm fighting for my second belt, October 7th, I believe, in South Haven. And so I'll get my second belt and close out this year with those 2 fights. And then looking to go pro, definitely sometime next year. And then from there, like I know the right people. I train with a good school up in Memphis, Law School MMA. They've got fighters going to UFC Contender Series in September. Like they've got 2 fighters up there. Like so that's like that's the fast track to the UFC. Like I know the right people. So
that's what's up.
Yeah.
So how ready are you to beat this guy's ass in August?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this?
I'm excited about it. He's 6-10. He's got 16 fights. So he's got a lot of tape, like on YouTube, Facebook.
I thought you said he's 6'10". I was like,
I think he's only like 5'9", I think. So he's a couple inches shorter than me. Yeah. But yeah, he's got a bunch of tape. He's a southpaw. That means he's left-handed. So he's the first second southpaw I've ever fought, and I ran through the first southpaw I fought. So I'm hoping I can repeat that next weekend.
How do you feel? I know every time you go through prep for fighting and all that, what's the mindset like? We're just like starting the prep and then until the finish.
Yeah, like I mean, the mindset kind of always stays the same, like the whole time. We usually do like 8-week fight camps, and so at the beginning of the 8 weeks, it's like 8 weeks seems like a long time. That's a month and a half, a little like about 2 months. So it seems like it's so far away, and so you don't ever take training lightly, of course. But whenever it gets to like the 2-3 week mark, where like the fight's coming up, it always like sneaks up so quick.
Yeah,
Training always picks up. Yeah, like really gotta lock in, focus. Like I said, not that I'm not focused the whole time. Definitely stay focused. Like mind, eyes on the goal the whole time.
Yeah.
But last like 2-3 weeks, it gets real. Like next weekend, I get to actually like, look at this guy like face to face instead of just like seeing pictures of him on Facebook. I get to actually like make eye contact with this guy and see if he's actually like about it. Like if he's, I don't know. It's a mental game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was talking to Brew about this. I kind of had a question about like cutting and stuff for the fight. Obviously, you see in UFC they do like those insane weight cuts.
Yeah.
For divisions like leading up to this to the UFC, do you keep it that extreme, or like what's going through your mind? Is it like hard, like mentally?
Well, there's like an old school and a new school way of cutting weight. A lot of those like UFC guys and even guys like in the like regional events, like I'm still competing in, they cut fucking 30 pounds in a week and a half. Like, and that's just like just detrimental on your body. That's you see these guys.
This is unhealthy at that point.
Yeah, you see these guys like faces all like sunken in. Like that's inevitable if you're cutting a lot of weight. Like I get like that, but they just like they can barely put their clothes on. They're being like carried to the scale by their trainers. Like it's just super unhealthy because like the last like 24 to 48 hours is when they're cutting like 15 pounds. And that's just not good for your body.
So they're like walking around 160, fighting in 130.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
like Aljamain Sterling, he's the 135 champ right now in the UFC. I think he walks around like 170. That's what I walk around at.
Holy
and he fights in 135. And he don't start cutting until like 2 weeks out.
Do you think it's like this is like a cheat code, like walk around at that weight and cut down to that weight and then be able to bump up like 10 extra pounds?
It'd be a cheat code if only one person did it. Then he would have the cheat code, but everybody does it. So it's just part of the game. It's just another part. Like me, I walk around 170, close to like 175 sometimes, and I cut to 145. But I'm not killing myself for 2 weeks. I start my like cut, I guess, 5-6 weeks out.
Yeah.
So like right now I'm 155, 156. So that only puts me like 11 pounds off.
Yeah,
And I can do that in a week if I wanted to.
Yeah.
So I've definitely, like I said, this is my 11th fight I've got coming up. The first couple times, like it was pretty tough. It's the fight before the fight is what we call it, because it's the fight like with yourself.
Right.
Because you got to have strong willpower and discipline to not eat anything, drink a bunch of water, and just know that like once you get off the scale like at weigh-ins, you can eat whatever you want to.
Yeah, and I remember when we went to 8 West, us three, and then like everyone's eating like burgers, like milkshakes and all that stuff, and you were just sitting there had some charcuterie, like eating like big old piece
sausage
of
and cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's something. Yeah, I definitely like probably myself. I probably couldn't do that, but because like already us doing the carnivore diet, that seems like that's hard enough. But just like going on a forever cut for a MMA fight, it's tough. To
Yeah.
see.
But back to before, like whenever you're playing baseball, and then after that, what made you fall in love with fighting? Whenever you got introduced to it?
I guess like when I first started, I thought that I was really good. Like I thought my striking was good. Like it felt like really crisp and everything just felt good. But like now, like looking back at videos of me hitting pads, that shit was like butt ugly. But I guess it just like felt good at the time. And so I guess I wanted my technique to get better. And then when it did improve, and there was like drastic improvement, and like I started cage fighting, I didn't have my first cage fight like just to say I did it. Like it was always like a dream, I guess.
Yeah.
But like definitely grew like a lot more. So I can't necessarily give you like an exact time of like when I fell in love with it. It just kind of
It just, like,
it was always
stopped.
there and just like grew the more I did it.
That's what's up. So, I didn't really know a whole lot about your dad. I was under the impression he was like a boxer. So, what was kind of your dad? What's the genetics pool looking like?
His first martial arts he took was Taekwondo. I'm not sure what rank he got up to. I know he got pretty high in Taekwondo. His dad, my grandfather, he was a Golden Gloves boxer. We're from Louisiana. That's where my grandfather's from. He moved over here. I couldn't give you an exact age, but I guess that started the generations over here, like in this area. Just big Cajun men on that side of the family, just huge, like 6 foot or taller, huge hands, just I guess naturally good at fighting. Like I'm sure my dad and grandfather collectively have been in over like 500 fights. So it's just kind of like an in the blood type thing.
Since you have your own gym and then your coach over everybody in the little pack, how do you feel going into fights and then but having a coach during the meantime, just leading up to it? Is that like a big stress factor or?
No, I mean it's a lot of pressure, but it's like nothing I couldn't take. If I didn't feel like I could do it, then I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
It honestly like helps with stress knowing that like I'm getting all my training in during the day, getting up early, running my miles, doing my burpees, not eating anything, you know, just drinking enough to survive, staying dehydrated, and then I got like my kids class, or like my ladies class come in, so I get to like teach them what I know, and they enjoy being there because if they didn't, then they wouldn't come. I guess that's the way I look at it.
Okay.
And so I'm teaching something I love to do to people who are like willing to learn about it, and that makes me happy.
Okay, so we're gonna get emotional here on the Brew podcast. So you obviously have a really good record. What's the worst part about losing as an athlete? I've lost some track races I should not have lost. I know everyone was like counting on me like, Cruz can't lose. Lost the race, and it was just like that unreal kind of feeling. So tell me what it feels like to lose. What's the worst part?
I feel like no matter like what the sport is, like whether it be baseball, badminton, like swim, like you said, track,
Croquet,
like any sport, like any athlete who's like passionate about what they do, I feel like you know, I get punched in the face, and if I lose, then my opponent got the best of me. You know, some sports like baseball, basketball, those are team sports, like where you can still make errors and everything. But I feel like no matter the sport, like all athletes who are passionate about what they do, like suffering a loss, they're gonna feel some kind of the same what's wrong, like the same despair, I guess.
I see.
Like, but like it is different. Like losing like a fight, you know, you learn more from a loss than you do from a win. At the amateur level, you know, that's where you have to get your losses out. Some people like just never lose, like Habib, for example. He never lost his like amateur and pro career. But like that's where your like losing needs to be done, because it's where you make improvements. So like of course I beat myself up about it. Like I'm not a emotional person. I'm just kind of my like family especially.
You're rational.
I keep my emotions like I guess kind of deep, suppressed, I guess. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
But I don't know. Whenever like I lose or like suffer like that kind of loss where like I know I could have done better, or like maybe I didn't fight to like the best of my ability, like that wasn't me like in the cage that night. And then like I really beat myself up about it.
Okay, so you feel like, oh damn, we lost. Got to do what it takes to get better. Got to look at the film.
Yeah.
What I do wrong, got to attack it again.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Fighting's like 90% mental, 10% physical. So if your mind's not right, then you're not going to perform right. And that's where I've suffered. I'll admit all of my losses except for one. One fight I just gassed. It was my very first fight, and it was like my favorite fight.
Yeah.
But all the others, like there was some kind of like internal conflict going on where like I was like it kind of held me back from performing to the best of my ability.
I say whenever it's gonna make me. I said it on the first podcast, but it's gonna make me sound like a bitch. But I had this mental crush in my head whenever I used to swim whenever I was younger, and whenever I was winning and I saw somebody coming up on me and losing, and I knew I was gonna lose, I'd get on the lane ropes and like gasp for air, pretend that I was like choking or anything, but it was just like a mental crush that I had in my head that I did not want to lose at all, and if I did, I was gonna go out with a bang in my life.
Oh yeah,
Exactly. You don't want people to think it's like your fault. You tried your best and you lost.
Yeah, that kind of like attributes to being a sore loser. Like I'm a sore loser. Like I don't like losing.
Yeah.
And like I won't show my ass like that. I'm about to lose, but
I feel like being a sore loser, but in a good way, has a lot to do with producing great athletes.
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
around.
There was a track race that I should not have lost, and I'm bringing it back here. But remember when he beat me? This was my junior year, so remember this was my senior year. This is what I meant. Right before I graduated, it was at state. Runner. Okay, I got this. And so I like pulled up a little bit, came across my shoulder, came across the finish line, and he was like, yeah! He was so pumped. He beat me. I was like, this is real. It like actually felt like a dream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just like felt like a dream. So I remember I was so upset about it, and I went like around where no one was at the track. I was sitting on this little hill, and I just sat there like this for like 30 minutes. I was like, damn. So I was like, okay, gotta be a man about this. I went to his tent where his teammate, I said, dude, good shit. You know, he's only a sophomore. I was a senior, so that was ultra embarrassing. But I said, look, dude, you gotta beat the NAIS record next year, dude. I'm hyped for you, dude. You know, just give him all the props in the world, because I tried my best. If I wanted to really beat him, I could have trained harder and not let him up then.
Yeah.
And he just trained harder than me. That's all it is at the end of the day. So yeah, admitting your defeats makes you a better person in the end of the day.
Yeah, and like I said, going back to no matter what the sport you play is, all athletes, like when they suffer a loss, they suffer like a similar kind of despair. Like it's funny you said, not funny, but you said like you went and found an area where nobody was, and you sat for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
My second fight, I lost in the first round in like just over a minute. Like it was quick. Dude put me in a triangle, like elbows on top of my head until the referee stopped it. And like I was just not there like mentally for that fight. And I remember after that fight, we fought in like this big like market, and I found just like this long hallway, and I walked to it was probably a mile long. Like it was a big building. I walked all the way to the end and just sat there, just on like concrete floor, just like in my thoughts, not saying anything. Yeah. Nobody was back there with me. I was just kind of I guess thinking about like what led me to that situation. Yeah. Like you said, I felt like a dream. I trained 8 weeks, several hours a day for a potential 9-minute fight, and like that's crazy to think about. And so if I can like train all these hours, do all this stuff, and go out there and perform poorly, like not like I know I can. And that's just what defeats me the most. Yeah. And that's like a mental boundary that you have to like jump over as a fighter. Is like if I can beat everybody up in training, like I get my ass kicked, I kick other people's ass. I've got to like go out there and perform. Like fighting should be the easy part, training should be the hard part. Yeah. And exactly. I feel like that should go with like any sport. Like you should have fun with what you do. Like I don't know exactly because I'm not a track runner, but I'm sure the training you do is like hard on your body. Right. You know, like you wake up sore. You're hungry all the time, you're thirsty, you train your ass off, and you go out there for a race. Like, you know, that should be fun. That should be the easy part. Yeah, training should be the hard part. Yeah. 100%. So when I started thinking about like fighting like that, that's when I do the best. When I start thinking about to like start running through people because I train my ass off and they're not training as hard as me, that's when I like perform my best. Yeah.
When you think you're on the top of everybody else.
Yeah. It's a line of like confidence. Yeah. That you like have to ride as a fighter, because you can't. There can be zero thoughts of like defeat or loss in your head as a fighter, because if there is, then you've already lost the fight before it even happened.
And confidence is such a key thing, especially in the world. Yeah. Having confidence for anything. I mean, could be telling a field, and you have all the confidence in the world. Oh yeah, they're gonna believe you. Mm-hmm. And just being able to, I think confidence is one of the best attributes to have as a man, or anybody in general.
Exactly.
To prosper.
Confidence is the same thing as just believing in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, I don't think no one's going to believe in you at all. All right, let's bend it into a different direction. We're going to wrap back into MMA/fighting. We're going to do Cruise Island Disc. So I asked this to all the special guests, even though we'll get a second one. If you were stuck on an island for 1 year, it's not like you can do whatever it takes to leave the island. After 1 year, a Jew on a canoe comes and picks you up.
Talking about BLP.
You could have 3. You got a record player. There's 3 songs. It could be a movie audio. It could be a certain movie soundtrack. Just literally any audio on the earth. What 3 discs are you gonna have?
3 discs. That's tough. Just since you said movie audio, I gotta go with like. I'm not even trying to sound cringy either because I'm a fighter, but like Rocky 1.
Okay, yeah.
Rocky 1 soundtrack, and just like the dialogue through the whole movie, like you know. Listening to that, stuck on an island for a year.
You just be building, and then when the montage comes in, it's like shit.
Yeah, sort of shadow boxing. But
start building a little fort while you're at it.
Yeah. And then I'll be on an island for a year, so I'll be in my fields a little bit. So I gotta have some rod wave.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, too. Yeah.
Rod wave, Rocky 1.
Is it Hard on Ice? Is that song? There's a specific album.
Jupiter's Diary. The album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
the whole album. Let's see. Number 3. I don't know. That's tough. trying to think. Maybe something like some kind of CD with like 90s rock on it, because that's what I listen to a lot, like playing baseball.
Okay.
And it's just
yeah.
like a childhood type thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Like anytime we were like warming up for like a game, there was always some kind of 90s rock playing. Especially Coach Weiss, my high school baseball coach. That's all we listened to when we practiced. So it's just a nostalgic feeling, I guess.
Yeah.
So 90s rock, Rod Wave, and Rocky One soundtrack.
And that year will be over in an instant.
Yeah.
It's gonna go.
Absolutely.
So.
But back to I want to ask, because I never really asked anybody about this, but especially being alone versus like, I say being alone, just like in your head and all that. What would you say? Because I've been there where I felt, even though I wasn't, but I felt alone, and it was just the most challenging thing in my life. I was going to the gym late at night. It was a terrible routine, going super late, waking up for school, and just at one point I just had no joy in my life.
Yeah.
My parents thought, well, my mom thought, she's like, you need to go to see help, because I would just leave the house just without saying anything, go on a walk and all that, and sometimes I would just come back, just break down right in front of her and just not know what to do, because I just didn't know what, because for some reason that specific time in my life I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I just got done quitting swim. I'd done that pretty much my whole life. And then just being in this, working at airport, and then I was just really not focused at school at all. So I didn't know what my future held for me, and so I was just super alone in my head, and I really wasn't hanging out with anybody at all. I was just doing the same routine over and over again. And I think once I started hanging out with one of my closest friends, that's when I just realized I wasn't alone, and being able to talk to my parents about that, which I'm usually not, just plain out, just not telling them about my feelings at all. But whenever shit hits the fan, I pretty much told them all. And so, what would you say is like
That
you're the
moment
most
where you-
alone in your
It's like you say, like that was kind of recent for you, I guess. Like being done with swim and everything, not really know what you're doing. I still have those conversations like with like my dad. He's my biggest like support system for sure. So like honestly, like recently, like I know I have like friends and family that like are there for me, and it's hard once you put yourself in this mindset that you are alone, and like you do kind of isolate yourself, like you're just an island and everybody else is over here, like on this big place, like doing their own thing, you know. Like I said, once you kind of put yourself in that mindset that like you are alone, you're by yourself, even though you're not, it's hard to get out of that mindset and like really like let people in.
It's more like a rejecting feeling.
Yeah.
Somebody tries to enter in and be like, that's
Right,
bad.
and it's like a subconscious thing. I don't purposely try to not let somebody in or tell them like what's on my mind necessarily. It's just a natural thing. Like it just comes natural.
Yeah.
Somebody asks you like what's wrong, you say nothing, like I'm fine, you know. But really like something's wrong.
Yeah.
But if you're so used to internalizing and keeping everything in your head, which is like what I'm really bad at, is internalizing and kind of like self-imploding. Like I get to a point where. I was coming back home from Memphis like 2 weeks ago. It was me, my dad, and my brother. We went and trained up there. And we were just driving home. It was 2:00 in the afternoon, like middle of the day. I'm in the passenger seat. And my brother's singing a song. It was some Zach Bryan song.
Yeah.
And like every now and then I was kind of like snap into like everything's fine. Like everything's okay. And I started crying like in the passenger seat. Didn't tell AJ, didn't tell my dad or anything until I got home. And it feels good to like feel that, like to know that people want to know about like what's going on, and like I say, it is hard to get out of that mindset, and I've done that recently. I feel like is like let more people in, and not be a brick wall. Like got to have some emotion and actually talk to people, and so I've done that recently. Like you said, you feel like you didn't know where your future was going. You were going to work, you're working out every night, just kind of leaving. And you get stuck in a routine is like what I find. Like this past summer was tough. This last whole year was tough because I took a year off of school, just like unexpectedly. Like honestly, didn't really like know what I wanted to do. I didn't even really know what I wanted to do in school until a couple months ago. But I took a whole year off. I was just at the gym. I was training, and I just got stuck in this cycle. okay, I know what I have to do tomorrow. I got to wake up. I got to train people. I got to train myself. Train people again. Go to sleep. Next day, exact same thing. And so you just get stuck in this loop. You're just doing the same shit over and over and over and over, where you feel like that's the only like meaning your life has when you don't set any kind of like other goals other than like what you're just doing in your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
And so, and like that's what my dad taught me about. I had to set goals, whether it's small goals, big goals, just like always be reaching for something. Always try to do something. And so I registered myself up for school again. Like I'm going here at Delta State. I'm starting next week.
Nice,
Super excited about it. Like get back into school. And I'm not just, and like it's not a bad routine. Like I love training people. I love training myself. But it keeps you in your head if that's the only thing you're doing. I think the same thoughts every day if all you do is the same thing. Like that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. You also get to like not only meet new people, but you can also kind of see like the world into other people's life. And I'm not trying to say this to sound like a dick. A lot of times when I'm like seeing other people's life, especially just like people in like just a classroom, like anywhere, I'm like, damn, these people, all they do is go to school and then go home. They go to school and go home. I'm like, damn, that's what it's like really, and it kind of motivates me to go out and like do more shit and really stay on the lockdown. Like, damn, like, are their parents proud of them for just going to school and then going home? Are they really like giving 100% if this is like their only thing that, they're doing in their life? So that's what kind of, anyway, I was in the same boat with you in that kind of sense, or it was like summer 2022. Up until that point, I was like super passionate about tricking and flips, and I still am super passionate about tricking and flips. But I didn't really know what else I wanted to do. My parents were always trying to push the clear path on me, which was go to college and be a kicker, go to college and just do some sports. But I did not want to go to college at all. I hated school. I always hated school. I just thought it was like pointless work. I'm never going to use this in the real world. I could just start like a business and do whatever. But I said to my parents, the only way I'm going to go to school is if I become a Division I athlete in the SEC, because I saw SEC as like the best division out of any like conference, out of all the conferences in the nation. So miraculously, that happened in the point where I really wasn't even like trying that hard, and it kind of makes you sound like a dick because I know there's people out there that train very, very hard for some things, but track just kind of came naturally to me. And then in the summer, I got a calls from the coaches, and he said, look, come in September, Bowling Green weekend, let's put you on a visit. So that's what they did. They got me on the track team. I was like, okay, well, I know what I'm going to be doing in, coming next August now, because I didn't know what I was going to be doing. Like, shit, like, it's really coming up on me because I didn't want to go to college. But now that everything's kind of taking its place, like the puzzle pieces are coming into, I've been working, as I've been working to be as skilled as in many things as possible. I've released I released videos on YouTube about like the talents that I can do, and that's got like it's near like 170,000 views. I want to hit like 200K. So that's super hype. It's cool to finally get recognition. Some people have done like Sports Talk Mississippi, Super Talk Mississippi. They've done a like a segment on me. Outkick, they did an article on me. So it's good to finally see like the pieces coming together. I think all of us kind of are realizing that, like all of our lives coming together. We're just really know what
it's
you're
just
doing.
time.
Yeah, I'm definitely in a happy. I haven't felt like that. Damn, like that depressing kind of like sad feeling. What am I going to do with my life? I haven't felt that in forever. So it's such like a clear path for me now and what I want to do. And I'm just happy that it's that way because I don't ever like to feel unsure about something. I'm unsure about exactly how it's going to go, but the path's clear to, I think, success.
I remember like me and you we don't really keep in touch like as much but I remember like one of the last times like me and you talked, I guess it was probably last year before last. You were might have been at the trail we talked or something. The trail. But I remember like asking you like what you were doing, like if you were going to college or whatever. I think what you told me then, your plans was to like move somewhere like overseas. I don't know what country it was. You want to go to Europe, and you were talking about just kicking, I think, or like I don't remember exactly what you said you were doing. But hearing like the change from that to like you said D1 SEC now.
I probably sound like a loser back then, honestly. I'm glad my ideas have changed because I was so like laid back then. It's like, dude, people always are worrying about stuff. The goal is to be happy in life, and then I think my mindset's changed so much because chasing happiness, that's going to be nothing because when you're always trying to be happy, you don't have control of your emotions. A lot of times you fail to suppress your emotions to where you're always trying to feel, get gratified by other people's how do I say it? Like get
so say like
Trying to please other people, maybe?
Yeah, you're trying to like please other people and like looking for emotions. That's how you, I guess, sort of try to feel happy, and that's what emotional humans. That's what makes school shooters, rapists. I mean, it's true. Like when you can't control your emotions, you start doing like some really dumb shit. So that's why all these, all these masculine men.
You need advice. Like you need something to do.
Like that. You need something to do.
you need something to keep you occupied rather than shooting at
Exactly.
school.
Yeah, exactly. So as long as you can suppress your emotions, you're best suited for life as a man.
Yeah.
But yeah, being I feel like as a man, going back to the being alone, I feel like it is statistic that most men commit suicide at a fast rate, alarming rate, and all that. And the only reason I think is because they don't talk about their emotions and they just let it build up until one day they just get an idea, hey, I think I'm about to end my life.
Exactly.
And that's the way it shouldn't be. I think men should go get help, seek therapy, even though I think therapy, whenever I look at therapy, I think it's just bull crap, but I feel like therapy, getting in touch, like saying to your friends, talking to your friends, I feel like that's the best therapy because they'll be able to get to know you better than paying somebody to.
It's once you like say something that's bothering you,
Yeah.
or like instead of keeping it in here, just like saying it out loud with, even if it's somebody who doesn't care to hear it, it always feels good.
Yeah.
Just like talk about what's
I
bothering
think
you.
I'm about to be a little bit risque here. It's the first, probably the most controversial thing ever said on this podcast. I'm about to say it. Okay, so
this podcast.
yes, I think
Number 3
if
is not to be
you
done with.
commit suicide, I think that is just about the worst thing you can do. That's the worst thing ever anybody can do, especially if you're a man and you have a family and you have a kid and you have a wife like that really, really care for you.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing you can do because it sets a sort of example for me. My daddy killed himself. Like imagine what that kid has to go through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I was a dad, I would not ever kill myself knowing that. Well, dude, it's no fun. Relax. It's gonna be good. It's good. All right, I could not live knowing that my child's gonna grow up without a father that has killed himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like every child needs a father figure.
But a lot of people that I feel like resort to that, they don't want to take the step out. So let's just say you got a what's it called? A wife that you hate, right? That you hate, but you love your kid and whatnot, and you're too scared to try to leave the relationship and build on something else. If you're too scared to take that step and you just feel like you're trapped, a lot of times they kind of resort to just doing something drastic like that. But that's like I feel like the worst thing you can do.
I mean, it's such a touchy subject.
It is.
And I feel like everybody has their own differences and all that, and their own opinions about suicide prevention, just anything in that vast topic. But I think I feel like you have to be in that situation to know more.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, it's
really,
like a on the outside looking in type thing.
Yeah.
You can't feel what other people are feeling, and I kind of feel like maybe it gets to a point where it's only your feelings that you're thinking about. Like you have like a kid, and wife, and everything.
Yeah.
But it's only you.
Yeah, because you think like a family member thinks, oh, why would they do that? But then you never look at the person on the inside that why they would.
You never
commit
knew how
such a
they
thing.
felt.
Yeah.
I can sort of see it from that side too. I just think that's like the lowest you can go, and I feel like if you guys can disagree with me on that, that's totally fine. I'd love to hear you guys' point from that side.
This video's gonna get flagged.
It probably will be. It probably will be. I don't know if maybe I should clip this part out to save my scholarship. I don't know. I should have kept that to myself.
You better be moving to Europe after all.
No, I mean I stand by it though. If someone were to actually ask me that question, I would definitely answer the same way.
I feel like you definitely need to stand by
You need to
yourself,
stand
but
by it.
Also at the same time you need to not seek, but also listen to other people's opinions, listen to disagreements and see what they go. Because if you live your whole life saying, oh yeah, that guy's wrong and all that stuff, you'll never be able to see. Even though you may know you're right, but then at the end of the day, you might just be like, oh, I wonder what they said. That probably got to you.
Be
and all that
open-minded.
stuff.
I'm stubborn. I'm gonna stick to my point.
I think through all the ancestors you've had, all the ancestors that has led every struggling decision, every time that they've been killed in war or something, it's been led to create you.
Yeah.
They're probably looking down on you you felt sad and you killed yourself. Like that's what it is. We live in a world. They didn't do it. They lived in a world where there was not nearly as much opportunity as there is now. You can do anything you want now. Anything you want to. It's the easiest ever. It's the easiest ever. And then you just see that you kids. I know it's such a touchy subject, but if you really look at it in the big picture, that's what it is. That's what it is.
I wonder what it'd be like.
You're in your bloodline.
Going back in time and just being able to, like, do you ever just like think about that, just being like, oh, what if I was like a Spartan and whatever wars they participated
Yeah,
in?
what I asked you the other day? What my
marathon. Oh wait, is that the war?
I asked you what my Viking name would be or something.
Yeah.
The hot gates.
I think it'd be
the
just
hot gates. That's a Spartan war.
being able to attain the knowledge that you have and being able to go back in time and being able to live that life. How do you think you would what's the word? Be able to live in that world?
How would I think I would be able to live in that world?
Yeah. Being able to have the knowledge that you attain right now,
Oh.
seeing in the future and all that.
Man, well, I don't necessarily, if I were like how I am right now, I don't know if I'd last, because in Sparta, in ancient Sparta, you'd have to be trained up since you were seven, like super young. So I don't know if I could do that. And they like throw you out into like the wilderness, just like survive.
All right, if you could bring a fully charged iPhone back to a caveman, what would you show him?
Probably what college shows everybody.
A fully charged iPhone, you like full access to internet and everything to a caveman.
Like I got data.
Yeah. Unlimited plan.
I don't know, dude. That's a good question.
Well, Theo Von said they'd call you gay and they'd kill you.
Probably true.
Damn.
They probably call you like emasculate. You have no hair, no body hair.
Booga booga. I'd show him some like weird I'd show him like the Katy Perry fireworks music video where like she has fireworks shooting out of her titties.
I haven't seen that. One.
Maybe we should just play that little clip right there in the video, but
Okay.
I
still don't know, dude. Probably something. I don't know. Fireworks.
Something dumb.
Some guns. I don't know.
I'll probably show them Hoodside. If y'all know anything,
Oh my
if y'all know anything about Hoodside, it's a terrible site. You should not watch it.
Okay, don't look it up. Man, that's like seriously, don't. I know you're gonna like people. All 10 of you watching this are gonna actually try to look it up after this, but just don't. They probably know what it is, but everyone's done it though.
I remember when we got introduced. I was talking to Nick about that earlier. I remember when we got introduced to that. Who even showed us that?
Delane Holmes.
Oh my gosh.
I've heard a story with that guy before. You told me about him.
Yeah. Did you know the rock story?
Maybe.
Where we threw a rock? Well, I didn't throw a rock.
Hit him in the head or something. It's like bleeding. Yeah.
Did we tell that on another podcast?
I'll get into it. So every day in 9th grade year, probably during lunch, we would go out and leave, eat our sandwiches or whatever we had that day for lunch, leave and go behind the Cleveland High building. And since there's a lot of gravel and big rocks, we were probably like Neanderthals. That's what the teachers thought we were, and we just throw rocks at each other. And so we would run around without any teacher supervision and just throw rocks at each other. And then one day, this guy named Cameron decided to join us on our rock throwing adventure. And we had this other guy. His name was Michael, and we had this other. What was his name? You talked about him before, but I won't drop his name. But he was on crutches. Yeah, he was on crutches, and so Michael took his crutches and started waving around, throwing them up in the air, and threw them in the dumpster. And so we get behind. We're kind of in the alley, and this kid decides to throw a rock at the new guy, Cameron, aiming at Delane. And he just throws the rock at him, and I forgot who asked him, was like, "Is your head bleeding?"
I did. I was like, "Yo, dude, your head's bleeding." I was like joking around with him because he has a hood on, and no one would actually be able to tell that. It's like, seriously? I'm like, yeah, and he pulls his head down, his head like, gushing blood. Gushing blood.
So we're like, "Do not snitch at all."
Don't snitch.
And we're like confronting him, just like, "Oh,
Wipe it
do
off."
not snitch." Yeah, just if a teacher asks you, just say you filled it out or something like that. We were trying not to get in trouble, and so probably till I think because I think this was 4th period or 5th period or something like that. It goes by 2 periods. I know in my class, they call my name to go to the office. I'm like, oh Lord, what did I do? And I was the whole time walking there, I was thinking, I was asking the person that brought me to the office, is this about the Cameron kid and all that? And so we get to the office. It's the funniest thing in the world. And they have us all in there, and they're playing the tapes of us. Michael's running with his Mason's crutches, and you see him hopping around, and he throws it in the trash can. But you can't see where Cameron got hit with the rocks, but you can see us throwing rocks at each other. And so we're like, okay, so y'all did this, and they're like, yeah, we did that. And they gave us the punishment of clean the lunchroom out for a week or get suspended. And so we chose the lunchroom, which was
So
the
we got
best
to miss
option.
some of our class too. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Win-win. You busted dude's head and got to miss class.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was a win-win situation for us. But
Have you ever been like suspended?
no.
Have you ever been suspended?
I got detention in 4th grade for not doing homework, and in 7th grade for not tucking my shirt in. So nothing bad.
In was that Cleveland High School?
Yeah, I was at Margaret Green, and it was like a rule for boys. You'd be wearing basketball shorts and a tank top, and you had to tuck your shirt in. Like, it was just a rule.
Yeah.
And I was in Miss Kirkpatrick's class, and she was like a great teacher and everything. She was really strict, like super by the rules. And I like got to sharpen my pencil, and my shirt tail was like out of my pants. She was like, Delahoussaye, detention. I was like, I'm sorry, I'll tuck it in. She was like, nope, it's 3rd time this week I've had to tell you. And like, I had to go sit in her class. I think I had to like write like 200 times or something that I'll tuck my shirt in. So like one of those kind of
Were you
detentions.
pissed?
Yeah, but I wasn't too mad. My buddy Gibb was sitting in front of me, and like I untucked his shirt, so he get trouble. He didn't get detention. I was just being a dick.
In high school days, even though we just graduated.
High school days.
Yeah, when he started college, yeah.
But yeah, that's probably the fondest memory I have of high school, throwing rocks at kids.
I remember every time I got detention, I avoided it. Every single time I was able to avoid it.
I do remember you'd always just like, I'll be like, Cruz, don't you have detention? Like, oh, no.
Oh, yeah. But I only got it like 4 or 5 times. Something would pop up. One time, like I was given detention, but the printer ran out of like ink or something or paper, and I couldn't print out the slip. The teacher wasn't able to print out the slip, so I didn't get detention.
Oh,
just
yeah.
because of that. She's like, fuck it. And then there was a time where what was it? In Miss Killian's class. This is my 9th grade year. I got suspended because I skipped her class to go to the basketball court and play basketball. That's what everybody did. But actually, my schedule said I was supposed to be in gym and Miss Killian's class, so I just kind of like switched whatever, depending on what I felt like doing. But then on my way back from the other period, she just like marked me absent, and then she saw me in the hallway. So she was like, oh shit. So she reported it to Mr. Ford. Remember that guy?
Reverend Ford.
Yeah, Reverend Ford. She reported it to him. And then that was actually the day we were going to get out for Christmas break in 2019. So spring break, sorry. So I walked back from football practice. Reverend Ford catches me. He intercepts me. He says, hey, you know what you've been doing? I said, you've been skipping class. I haven't been skipping class. I was in gym class. He said, yeah, but that's not what your schedule says. I said, yeah, my schedule says gym class. They literally like, and every time I'm in there, they like call my name for taking roll.
Yeah.
And he said, no, you know what class you're really supposed to be in, so he kind of called me out on that. And he said, yeah, once we get back for spring break, you're going to get 1 week in school suspension. And then COVID happened, so I didn't get it.
Oh man.
So it was fine. And then another time I got suspended, it was for some bullcrap. I explained it in the first Brew podcast, but then I switched schools after that, so I didn't even serve it. So I've never really even been suspended before, so it's cool.
So you lucked out every time.
Yeah, every single time.
Talking about like high school memories, I had this kid in my class named Jesse Washington, and he was known for like he'd do anything for $1. Like if he told me $1 and like you'd do something, he'd do it. Like my human A&P class, he'd like put drum mix in his hands, like rub it in his eyes. You gave him $1, he didn't care. And like all school year, there was this it was like a Dasani water bottle like hidden behind one of the totes, and it was filled with like people's chewed gum, coins, paper, just a bunch of just like random shit people put in his bottle, and it had like a little bit of water in it. And at the end of the school year, I gave him $1 if he drank it, and he drank the whole bottle of water with like people's chewed gum, coins, like everything. And in that same class, I think it was on the second story of the high school, and the windows open because like the AC was broke or something. And I told him I'd give him $1 if he like got out of the building on the second floor, and like walked around on like the little like the top of the building. He did it too. Like, the cafeteria. He just didn't care.
What's the guy's name?
Jesse Washington.
What's he up to nowadays?
I couldn't tell you.
He probably has a bunch of $1 bills.
Yeah.
We're gonna find his Instagram.
Yeah, he made a bunch of $1 bills that year.
Damn, I wonder if he still lives above it, brother.
I don't know.
Test it out one day.
I'll Snapchat him.
All right, let's get to some serious stuff. Enough jokes. What's your favorite color?
My favorite color is yellow.
Why yellow?
Yellow, I don't know, it's just a happy color. Like everybody else is gonna say like blue, red, or something like that. Like
sure.
yellow's just
What shade? Of
not like school bus yellow or like highlighter yellow.
That's what I was thinking whenever you said yellow.
Like a pastel type yellow.
Like a banana?
like a cream type.
I know. Yeah, cream.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
I think I did say it, but green,
Okay, we can
like,
say it again.
like an emerald green.
Emerald.
Emerald. I'm not gonna make the same mistake as I did last time. My favorite color is cyan. I said cayenne last time. Dude, like the pepper? It's like, dude, cayenne's not that blue color you're thinking of. But it's kind of similar to this color.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like
I
turquoise.
like that cayenne blue.
Cayenne.
I know what you're talking about.
Ooh. All right, predictions for the fight. If you don't want to answer the question, totally. If you don't want to feel like jinxing yourself, we know you're gonna win. So, in what
Don't
method?
jinx that.
We're not gonna jinx it. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. But in what method do you think you're gonna win?
It'll be a finish somehow.
Okay.
I'm confident in my stand-up.
TKO.
I'm confident in my stand-up. I'll knock him out with something. I'll catch him. I'll catch him where he like won't expect it. I'm also confident in my ground game. If I take him down, I work good off my back. I work good on top of people. Like I work good from everywhere. I'm real well-rounded.
Yeah.
So I'll just predict a finish. I won't say how necessarily.
That's a good
All my
answer.
wins have been by finishes.
Do you work good on top of people?
Absolutely.
All right, good.
Sometimes.
So tell us about Brew. Let's talk about your jiu-jitsu story. I mean, never mind. We told him the first Brew podcast. But how?
Oh, wait, let me say something real quick
Okay.
about his jiu-jitsu story. So he'd only been training with us for like a month, and he decides he wants to do a AGF, American Grappling Federation, like a tournament. And so he travels all the way to Biloxi with maybe even less than a month of training, and enters a division with 20 other guys. And he's just like, all right, Finn, you know how to pass somebody's guard and take somebody down. Like, he didn't really know anything, honestly. He knew how to like hold somebody like really, really tight. that was his jiu-jitsu. But like props to him for wanting to do that tournament. And like I said, less than a month of training. But that was in February.
It was in November, right? Is that one?
I thought it was early this year. But anyway,
It was in November.
just like since that first tournament, like to now, he's had like tremendous like leaps and bounds in his jiu-jitsu game. So I can't wait for like his next tournament. He's gonna fuck somebody up so bad.
Let's go.
The whole
Every
division.
time I wear I got a free American Grappling shirt, and Miguel kind of remind me of what I like remind myself every time I wear that shirt. I'm like, damn, I got my ass kicked to win this shirt, but definitely, yeah, like you said, definitely had some improvement rather than I remember the first guy that went up in the AGF. I was just hugging his arm. That's all I was doing.
Just holding him tight.
He's like, and I guess I was trying to break it, but I was nowhere near doing that. I was just like hugging it.
You did good though. Like I said, like you were, like out of the whole 20 people in your division, I think you were the very last roll in the
Yeah, oh
bracket.
my
Like you were nervous already, just like to compete because you had never did any kind of combat sports before your
Yeah.
life. And then, like when it's finally your time, like you slap bump, and you're just like, what do I do? Like, you're just white, but you did good though.
I do remember whenever they called our names down, I got down there and I was like, okay, they're checking, and then I was like, I forgot my mouth guard, so I have to run backstage, run all the way up, just look through my whole bag for it, just trash it, and just leave everything up there. And whenever I got back, luckily everything was just, my wallet was on the floor, and luckily nobody touched it, but yeah, I was
It was
so
like
nervous.
single elimination.
Yeah, if there's that many people in a division, then yeah, it's usually single elimination.
I was thinking about this. Kind of forgot about this guy, but I think next special guest needs to be Benito.
He'd do it. He's good at talking. Yeah.
Yeah.
He sells
won
cars
his
for a
first fight,
living.
right? Was that his first fight?
He won his first fight, lost his second, won his third. He's 2-1.
2-1.
Mm-hmm. We traveled all the way to Paris, Tennessee, stayed in Murray, Kentucky for his first fight, and he got out there and dogged this dude in the first round. It was fun.
Yeah, I'm pumped for this next stage. Yeah.
Good. When is it?
We'll probably compete in November.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's an annual thing. Okay.
So won't you be doing that one too?
Yeah, I'll probably be competing. So I have a fight, like I said, next weekend, and I have a fight in October.
Yeah.
And I'll probably finish the year off with that
We
grappling
should
fight.
have a good group of guys that will go to.
Oh yeah, we'll have a handful of people.
Since there's a lot more members at the gym. But yeah.
So, as far as the gym goes, you guys plan to run that gym for as long as you guys can, or it's like until someone gets in the way. So.
No, we got like it's something that we wanted to do for a while. Like my dad's always trained people. Like if they wanted to fight, then he'd train them, like to get in the cage and everything. And we had like so many people like just coming to him, like just wanting to train. And so we opened up the gym, and now we got a ton of people in there now. Like big jiu-jitsu class, big striking class. I've got a ladies fitness kickboxing class. I teach kids. I do privates. So if anybody out of his 10 viewers, like he said, wants to do something,
I think we might have 20 viewers after this.
Yeah.
And we got big plans for Wolfpack here soon. So we'll be on the lookout for that. I'll be posting about it.
Did you just plug? No, seriously. Follow Wolfpack MMA here. Plug it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Instagram, Pretty Boy Nick. That's my nickname. Facebook, Nick Delahoussaye. Wolfpack MMA and Boxing Club on Facebook. There's all the social medias. Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Well, I said
I'm going about 51 minutes, the same length as the first podcast we did. That's I guess that's it. Any other questions we might have? Any other questions that you don't already know about Nick?
I'll let it out right here.
What's your biggest inspiration?
My biggest inspiration. Damn.
Oh no, hold on. I gotta ask another question after that. Go ahead.
Biggest inspiration. I don't know, like just how successful everybody else is in my family, like makes me want to be that
Live up
successful
to it,
for
make
sure.
them proud.
Yeah, definitely want to compete with the Delahoussaye name. Not necessarily compete, but live up to Delahoussaye name. Like my dad, super successful guy. Like always has been his whole life. Got us to where we are now from almost nothing basically. Like he got us very far, like almost by himself. My brother, he graduated nursing school last fall, and he's been working his ass off. He's about to get his own place. He's super successful. My sister, she's always worked her ass off. She works Lost Pizza here in town. She works almost every day. Every time I text her, like, what you doing? She'll be like, I'm working. So she's working. She's in school now, too. She's also got nursing school. My stepmom, she's a nurse practitioner now. She's got a bunch of stuff going on. So a bunch of, like, super successful people in my family. And I don't want to cut myself short. Yeah.
You make it a staple.
Oh, yeah. I definitely want to be, like, remembered for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last question. What's your biggest fear?
My biggest fear?
Biggest fear.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier.
Like me personally, I have thalassophobia. If you guys don't know what that is, that's like the scare of like deep water and the unknown and stuff. So I remember one time I was swimming in Belgium, Turkey, and you start swimming, and you eventually
Is it recent?
No, this was in 2017. You can't see the bottom anymore, and it's just like blackness below you. So I was like, that's like probably one of the scariest things in my life. I remember it vividly. So that's thalassophobia, scared of the ocean. Brew?
Mine has to definitely be, depending on how good I feel up in there, but heights to a certain extent. I could go pretty high up and be like, okay, but then there's something always in the back of my head that's telling, like, whenever I lean over like a big skyscraper, top of the building or anything like that, and it's just telling me, jump. I don't know why. But
That's the intrusive thoughts,
my
man.
intrusive thoughts tell me to jump, and I'm like, no, I'm backing away. So yeah, I say definitely heights because that's where my intrusive thoughts
Maybe that
really gets
explains
to me.
about what I was talking about earlier. Yeah. Okay.
I've never been anywhere like tall enough to say I have a fear of heights. I've never been on a plane, but I feel like that'd be pretty scary. Like being way up there with, just trusting somebody to land you. Like, yeah, they like trained a lot to be able to do that thing, but I don't know. I guess when I get there to an airplane, I'll see if that's a real fear or not.
I'll tell you what, something else is too. Also, like pilots, I heard they like nap sometimes too.
Nap?
Yeah,
While
they
they're
nap.
flying?
I think they have like a co-pilot that just like looks at the plane, make sure.
I found out like my pilot was sleeping while we're flying. He's running that fake.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
get off
sure.
that plane.
Anyway, so when you're up in a plane, so Finn, first time you were in a plane, we were in Turkey.
Yeah.
You got the window seat that one time, right?
Yeah.
You saw what it looked like when you were looking at a plane. In a plane, you're 30,000 feet in air.
Yeah.
That's shorter than the average depth of the ocean. So imagine if you're in the middle of the ocean. Next time you're just randomly in the middle of the ocean. You get in the water. What's below you is pretty much exactly how high you are in the plane. Like that's absurd to me, dude. That is absurd to me. If you see a picture of like what it looks like peeking out of a plane, just know that that's what it's like when you're in the ocean. It's just absurd.
I think, thinking about that, the first time, like, the taking off part was pretty scary because it was just, like, rush and then picking up and my body just went, like,
It did what?
yeah, it just went,
We actually had pretty bad turbulence going to Turkey. Like,
yeah, I started throwing up on
Oh, we got horribly sick in Turkey, dude. I vomited like 5 times a day.
Yeah.
And then, that's true. He's not gonna watch this for. And then Finn was next, and we were on the plane. And he was just like, Finn. He's like, I was like half asleep. I was like, what? He's like, give me your bag. Give me your bag. I'm like, okay, you need this bag? He's like, yeah. And so he gave it to me. He's like throwing up, and the thing he held that in. He's like, hold it. I'm like, what? Hold it. He's like whispering. So like I grab it on the way in, and it tilts over because it's so pours in my lap.
I said, Cruz, stop squeezing it. And you were like,
I was like, dude, what? Spill it in my lap. I think he fills up another bag too. And then later on that trip, my dad got sick. But,
Oh man.
yeah.
So we're talking about throwing up. Kind of funny story. My girlfriend was staying with me one time, and she like, it was like the middle of the night, like 1 o'clock in the morning or something, and she said she had to go to the bathroom. So she got up, she goes to the bathroom, and she'd go on for like 20 minutes, and like I'm thinking she's like, on the toilet or something. She comes back in my room, and she just like stands at the foot of my bed, and she's like, Nick. I said, yeah, I throwed up. And she was up all night throwing up, just randomly.
But yeah, that was probably the most calmest I've ever thrown up in my life.
Dude,
I was
you're
just,
so quiet.
I was just like,
It was so cool. Dude, I remember I was like fucking screaming when I was throwing up, dude. Everyone was knowing I threw up, dude. He was like, ah! When I threw up, I was like, in the toilet, I was like, ugh. And then as soon as I let the first one out, he behind me like, ew. Yeah, thank God.
that's disgusting, Cruz.
Yeah, it kept going, dude. I was throwing up like blood too, but they just said that was just from like the stress on the whatever the system is called.
I almost died in Turkey and your girlfriend didn't give a shit.